Duckies versus the Relegades Incorporated. Last game we saw a dominating performance by Mokujin and and Killer Z, doing very well against the Relegades with a penta by Mokujin towards the end of the game.
I'm absolutely livid.
So, I'm gonna see some pretty similar bans. We do see a departure though in the banning of the Vladimir from the Relegades. Now, Killer Z's Vladimir was definitely a very big problem in that last game. Doing so much damage, 45k, and just being a nuisance in general. So, I'm gonna see two bans here from the Firebling Rub Duck. He's gonna be that Maokai and that Graves. Not gonna want to let White Raw have that Graves. I want to see if the last ban's gonna still be Ivern, because White Raw's strategy thus far has been playing a lot of Ivern. So I have to see if they're gonna maintain that ban that they had through the previous game.
So I go.
That should be the Shen ban, which is kind of interesting considering that more often than not, Libligirl's playing as carry rather than Shen, but maybe it has to do with what the comp they're trying to force them into. And it will actually be Ivern being left up. Oh, he's going to be hovered, so that's probably a placeholder for some champion. We'll have to see. So we're going to have to see how they decide to change up their comp, because as it stands, unless they play really well, the comp that they picked last didn't really seem like it could match up, but they have banned out the Vladimir, which was an integral part of the previous composition of the fire breathing. So I've actually been informed that Thakali is the Ivern, so being left with the Ivern, they have no hesitation. They pick that up first pick. Do lock that in, so see what they do with it, but we will see White Raw on one of his more comfortable champions. Now we're going to see some hovers here from the Relegades. Going to decide what they want to lock in. Still got 30 seconds on the clock, and it will be Mr. J-Jax on the Ari again, doing a pretty good job, but in these fights, not really able to get the most damage out or mesh up against this tank line that was absolutely destroying the back line of them. And then Mokujin just being very, very, very mobile on that Lucian, not really taking the most damage from Ari. So I have to see how this meshes up when he's playing Caitlyn. He's a little bit more less mobile. I see some nice hovers here. Baba Ganoush on that Zac, doing fairly well, not hitting as many elastic slingshots as I would have liked, but he did do his job and tanked up for his team, which is not really what White Rob was doing there. White Rob really playing more to do damage. So the secondary pick of Killer Z being that Orianna, he's very proficient at both of those champions, Ari and Orianna. Has played the Ari and Orianna matchup many, many, many times. I believe he's played against Azuru, played against all sorts of players. So now Samano hovering this Ashe, maybe looking to get that hard engage. I'm not sure if the Kale is a placeholder or if they're actually going to draft it, because I'm not aware if anybody on the side of the Relegades actually do play that Kale, but I'm unsure. If it was a Kale, it'd be Kale top, because the Gali is actually Ivern. Sandwalker going to be picking his last champion, see what he wants there. Going to be deciding, thinking that over for himself, and it will be the Janna. Janna versus Lucian being a very, very potent lane when he's able to get in on them. However, against the Caitlyn and the Thresh, there's a lot of combo potential there with the traps, as well as just a sheer amount of presence that the Caitlyn can put out. So some of that will be mitigated from the Janna shields, but if they do get hooked, not a terrible amount of things that Janna can do there other than just shield and hope that he can get a good tornado. So the lobby will be restarted. They'll be trying to get back into this game. Gonna be seeing the Ivern being picked up here. Hopefully going to be getting into the game as soon as possible.
Life is too short for
Hopefully we'll
fear.
be getting into this pretty fast.
I do not
We do see a
tolerate
pretty big
cowardice.
change in these team comps coming out. So Samato is going to be on that
So I
Lucian.
go.
It's a very comfortable champion for him. We will see Mokujin on the Caitlyn, which I don't think I've ever seen before, actually. I believe that Mokujin and Samato have very similar champion pools. However,
I'm
Samato doesn't play
absolutely
Caitlyn, so
livid.
it's going to be a little bit different here. Samato not really having played too much Caitlyn himself. Maybe having less understanding of the matchup, who knows? But just minuscule things that could potentially add up to this lane. So actually, it will be the Trundle for Blue Girl. Okay, so I've actually been led completely wrong. There we go. So it's going to be the same top lane matchup as we saw before. The Blue Girl going to be on that Trundle, not actually doing the best. Last game being a 4-8 or something. Doing pretty well when he came to the split push, but not doing much when it came to actually team fighting. Didn't really do much there, so I have to see what's going to go on. Now, Relegades going to be picking up their champions. Moira going to be slow to pick his. Maybe he's asleep at the computer. We may never know. Should be the Ivern. He will wait and go down to the 16-second mark. Alright, there it is. Alright, he's not asleep after all. Cool. Now we will see the standard picks being locked in. We will see the things we saw before. Now, something to be noted is that tank line of the Relegades, again, kind of lacking. Red Flame Melodic was doing actually a pretty good job of tanking up these damages, but the thing is that he was diving most of the time, so it wasn't necessarily damage that would have been directed towards the carries anyways. Carries are mostly on their own, but the thing is that Lucian and Ari are so mobile that it probably won't matter. Cleanse looks like it's going to be taken by Killer Z. Going to have that cleanse for the root collar from White Raw, the charm from Mr. J-Jax. Not too much hard CC on the side of the Relegades, but just in case. We are going to be almost getting into game here. Fabricators on this Zac again. Not sure how I feel about that, but functionally the comp is pretty similar. You got the mass AoE of mid laner mage that Killer Z is playing. The only thing that you see is that Mokujin is no longer on that Lucian. He doesn't have that mobility. He does have the late game scaling of that Caitlyn though, so should be pretty good for the Fire Beating Rubber Duckies. In terms of comp, I think I do like theirs better. Honestly, I think it's more solid. They have a bunch of tanks. They have a bunch of carries that know how to play around the tanks. So I do think that that should work out well for them. Alright, so anybody who's new, this is Ascension eSports Elder League. This is a gold to platinum league. Signups should be going out pretty soon in the next week or this one, so be sure to stay tuned for that. You can find us on Discord, find us on TeamSpeak, at our subreddit. We do have other leagues for any player, so we do have the Phoenix League for Diamond and Up, and we do have our Dragon League for Bronze to Silver. So, no matter what elo you are, there's probably a league for you. So, sign-up should be going out soon, as I said. Be sure to check it out, and we hope to see you there. But otherwise, we will be getting into this game pretty soon. Exhaust is going to be taken by both supports, fairly standard here. One thing to be known is that Samano is apparently the only player on Relegades to use Flash on D. Now with 1 minute left to spare, we'll see how this pans out. If you just look at the comps, again, you have kind of this sort of picking game that the Relegades have. You have the Root Collar, you can catch him with that, you can catch him with the Charm. You don't have the Morgana Dark Binding that they used to, so that's one loss, but the Charge is pretty good for catching people out as well. Meanwhile, on the side of the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies, you have these team fighters in the form of Zac and Oriana, but you also have the insurance of Mokujin, because once Mokujin is playing that Caitlyn and he gets into the later game, it's like sort of it is kind of like insurance. For once you reach the late game, you can have the assurance that this Caitlyn's going to be scaling up pretty well, he's going to be doing well, and he's just going to be melting the enemy team, frankly, who is not compromised with the biggest tanks. Daisy obviously can be summoned by Ivern, but Daisy gets deleted very, very, very quickly. And I do believe that Caitlyn's extra headshot damage does apply to Daisy, so Daisy should not really make terribly big of a difference. Right now, we will be going into this loading screen. Should be pretty soon. Alright, so now as we do get into this loading screen, we do see Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies, the first seed coming to playoffs versus Relegades Incorporated, the 6th seed coming in. Now on the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies, or on the Relegades rather, we do see Red Flame Evolved in the top lane, White Raw in the jungle, Mr. J-Jax in the mid lane, and Samano and Sandwalker in the bottom lane. And now for the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies, we do have the Blue Girl playing that jungle again in the top lane, Baba Ganoush in the jungle, Killer Z mid lane, Moku Jin as AD carry, and I Nidaleesh on support. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good game, but it's a little bit more than in the Relegades territory. Red Flame evolved to not really much of a Kled player, but we do see White Rock back on his Ivern that has been banned quite a lot against him since the Week 5 quarterfinals-ish stage. So we'll have to see how he does here. But White Rock definitely a very strong champion here. Previously, he's been paired up with champions like Gangplank and Azis, but maybe different here. We don't know. The shields are, however, less effective when placed on a squishy member, since a shield is basically flat health, and the flat health scales better when you have more resistances. So we're not putting onto a Nasus, it's less effective, but having shields is pretty nice. With the Janna and White Raw's Ivern, they are going for that shield comp, so I am looking to see a very long slugfest of nobody dying at all. Appears we are having client errors, however we'll be trying to fix that as fast as possible and get into this game. So it looks like pretty standard starts. We're not going to see an invade out of either team so far. Bot Brush is, however, being camped by Sandwalker and Samano, so I wonder what they're going to do with that. Camping a Bot Brush, not really the most effective of strategies. However, they don't have to leash, so what's the worst that could happen? So White Rock going to be starting at that blue, going to get himself that typical Ivern pathing. I don't actually know terribly much about that myself. But Samano and Sandwalker in that bush, they do have to be careful though. Without dashes or anything, they may get poked by I Need a Leash if they decide to engage. Mr. J-Jax is going to get a pretty favorable trade, proccing the Thunderwoods onto Killer Z. Again, we see this level 1 trading between the Blue Girl and Red Flame Evolves. Still having a little bit of an error here, so bear with us for a moment while we're trying to fix this. Hopefully we'll get it fixed soon, but otherwise, having a little bit of an error here. Now, the Blue Girl getting a little bit feisty with Red Flame. Red Flame doing a lot of damage, though. Has he been up more than he could do? Yes, he has. Red Flame Evolved, taking down the Blue Girl in a 1v2. Trying to see if he can get Baba Ganoush as well. Does pull him back with the bear trap on a rope, but does not look like he'll be able to get him. But very well played by him in a 1v2 to get that kill. And that's just kind of bad for the side of Firebeam where the Duckies now. The Blue Girl's behind who they rely on pretty heavily in some of their compositions. And now Ivern in the boss side does miss the root collar, and the Lantern does get Mokujin to safety. Gank does not work out for the Relegades squad. So there's not really much going to be going on here. However, root collar nearly lands onto Killer Z. White Raw has to flash it in order to get away. Or Killer Z has to flash in order to get away. White Raw wasn't the one that threw it. My apologies. But White Raw just looking so much better on this Ivern, being everywhere he needs to be. Not quite making the ball lane gank work out, but he is doing a decent job here. And now Reznov taking no damage in the 1v2 yet again, but he's got to wait for the cannon minion in it. Will he be able to do the 1v2 again? Potentially, I see it. Elastic Slingshot goes way wide from Baba Ganoush, and he does have that passive to sustain himself. Red from Evolved will live through that attempt at a gank. It's not really working out for the side of the Firebreathing Over Duckies. And now we are back, we are doing well. Okay, so now we can see what's going on here. So, we are 5 minutes in, 1-0, and there's a slight goal lead for the Relegades. Sandwalker, meanwhile, hook goes barely wide from I Need a Leash. Does hit the minion, not quite able to hook up Sandwalker. Now Samano, not a little bit of CS, but looking pretty comfortable on that Lucian. That's the Evolve looking much better on this Kled as well. Ganoush still on the top side of the map. See if he's going to try and make any sort of plays again towards the top side, but that would be his third time in here. Meanwhile, Samano is here, so is Ivern, and now there's a fight going on the top side as well. Flash is burned by Mokujin, and the Blue Girl is just going ham. Wants to get the kill on the red flame, but he's almost got Scarl. Ain't not that Scarl! Scarl, I missed you, buddy! Good to have you on board. And now, Red from the Evolve does take down the Blue Girl. Twice now, 0-2, once in a 1v2, and second when the Blue Girl underestimated the time that Scarl would take to return. Very well played there, and now the Blue Girl just not having a good time on this struggle. Previously, he was slightly ahead in the early to mid game, fell off later in the team fights, but now he's just not doing well at all. So Ninja Tabai will be picked up by the Blue Girl. He's going to be trying keeping himself safe from Red Flame Evolve's constant assault of Kled. Hopefully that'll work out for him. should mitigate a decent amount of damage actually. But Red from Evolved has got a lot of gold to spend. Up a little bit of CS, up 2 kills, so let's see how we're gonna do here. The boost and mobility have been rushed by White Raz Ivern. He's going to be using that to get around the map, spread that pressure around, be where he needs to be at the time. Doran's shield was actually started by Samano. I missed that, but he does want that Doran shield so we can sustain through the constant onslaught of Caitlyn auto attacks. Does have that Vamp Scepter as well, so now he should be pretty good in this lane. But now White Raw wants to scrap with Baba Ganoush. Does miss the root collar, but Baba Ganoush is down 4 levels. And now Red Flame evolves here, locks onto Killer Z. Looks to get a little bit of damage on. Killer Z does have the shockwave, but Red Flame Evolve does joust out. And now Mr. J Jack is going to be taken down by Baba Ganoush. And now this is looking pretty bad. But now Red Flame Evolve is here in the 1v3. Can he make it work again? Cell Division is up for Baba Ganoush. Will be popped. Shield is used to try and save his buddy by Ivern. But what can he do? Staying around a little bit too long is White Rock. And he's trying his hardest to get out of there. No mana on the Firebreathing Rubber Ducky squad, but it doesn't matter. He is taken down. And that's going to even up the score 2-2 with dead even gold. So now that's going to get the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies back into this. Hopefully they'll be able to make a comeback here. Hook lands onto Samano. Play not going to be used here, maybe not up, but Baba Ganoush going to be taking this red buff. Oh! He's executed by the red buff. Oh, that's just unfortunate. Baba Ganoush does get himself murdered by the red buff. In fairness, it's a hard buff to take, you know. But that is quite unfortunate for the squad of Firebreathing Rubber Duckies. I think I've seen a jungler get executed by his own jungler maybe 3 times now in the history of Elden Dragon Leagues. So you're not alone. You're not alone, Baba Ganoush. Dork's shoes have actually been rushed by Killer Z, who's up 20 CS. Doing real well for himself is Killer Z, so gonna be having a pretty good time. Now White Raw punishing Baba Ganoush, taking away that red buff, and now both members have red buff, but doesn't matter. White Raw's knocked back, a double lift when I ever saw it, and now he's in the middle of enemy territory. Gonna try and run for his life using his bushes, but Elastic Slingshot is up. He's tagged, and now the option for a execute is not available to him. He's going to try and waste as much time as he can. Kill should be given over to Killer Z, and it will. No hope whatsoever for White Raw. So now Red Flame Evolved is kind of being away from his lane a long time, but he's going to be getting some damage onto this mid lane tower. We're going to see if he can do anything here. But bot lane, Mokush is doing a lot of damage onto that tower as well. He's just sieging it pretty well. Mokush on that Caitlyn, if he can get through the laning phase and get to that point where he can have those 3 items, you know, be that Caitlyn monster, it's going to work out really well for him. And now, Samano needs to be able to get that work and be able to just snowball as a Lucian. So the red buff should be available, I think. I believe the Ivern has that ability unlocked now, so yeah, the red buff will be available for Samano should he want it. He's currently standing in base. He's alright now though. So now White Rod looking to get something onto Killer Z does slow him with the root collar, or the shield actually. So Mr. J Jax building the Morella Nomcon this time around, actually not going for the Hextech Gunblade build that we saw in the previous game. Have to see how that's going to work out for him, but LeBlue Girl, very, very squishy. Look at the health difference between him and Red Flame Evolved. So now there'll be a little bit of a scrap going on. The blue girl's going to be using the subjugate pretty early, actually. And now Red Flame Evolved does not really want this fight, but White Raw's here, so maybe he does. Flash is used by the blue girl, and now he's going to be alright. But, however, does get the summoner, so White Raw, again, where he needs to be, when he needs to be there. Pocket Pistol is used, but now, potentially going to be punished is the Relegades, because the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies have started the Dragon. Cloud Dragon, not really the most important one you could get, but hey, Dragon's a Dragon, so they should be taking this uncontested. It doesn't look like Relegades are going to be trying to take this back. Sneaky W attempt was attempted, but Samano does not quite get it. He does, however, have that red buff from Ivern, so potentially he can bully out Brokergen, or at least try to get a little bit of damage onto him. He does have to be wary of the sheer amount of pressure of I Need a Leash, though. So now White Raw is here now, but not only the root color, culling is used, Brokergen taken very low. But however, I Need a Leash is going in, place him into the tower, but I Need a Leash will be alright. Daisy's here now. Daisy wants it on the action, but it's going to be taking a few tower shots and running away. Wow, that is a lot of damage up to Daisy. Alright, Daisy's going to be fine. That's all we need to worry about. Alright, so he's ganks by White Raw, not really working out in the bot lane, but he's trying his hardest now. A little bit of a gold lead actually to the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies, and now taking the fight is Red Flame Evolved, as he's gonna wheel in with Blue Girl with the bear trap on the rope, but he's bit off a bit more than he can chew. Subjugate is used, Mastery is flared, and now that's a solo kill from the Blue Girl onto Red Flame Evolved. 2-0 he was, and he still got solo kills. He's not really respecting it. Thinking on Subjugate cooldown was a little bit longer than it was, and just being unprepared when he had it. Calling his pants down is Red Flame Evolved, and now he's going to have that Black Cleaver though, so he will have a decent amount of tank shred. White Raw's here next to Baba Ganoush will be knocked back a little bit, but Mokugen and I Need a Leash exerting the lane dominance and getting this tower to half health. Well, Mokugen's just kind of going a little bit to the side, but he will be alright. I Need a Leash is going to give him the... But here we go, Red Flame Evolved coming in. Mokugen's going to be taking a lot of damage. TP is used by Lobugo. They got to kill him now, because now he's coming on the back side. Red Flame Evolved is going to be tanking the tower, going to get completely trapped up. Red Flame Evolved is going to try his hardest to get him onto the tower, and he does! Does get the kill onto the tower, but Killer Z here is here. Killer Z wants to kill. Ultimate use, Shockwave lands, auto attack, W, and that is goodbye, Samano. Mr. J. Jackson's here, but a little bit too late. Ultimately, that's a 2-for-1, 2 kills for the side of Firebreathing Rubber Duckies. Now, White Raw is here, but what can he do? They can try to defend this tower, but they're not really going to get much out of it afterwards, are the Relegades. I have to see what they're going to do here, but Firebreathing Rubber Duckies looking to take this game pretty well now. They're going to have these... They're just going to be taking this game now. They have the mid game of the Orianna. They have the slight lead onto the Blue Girl now, because even when behind, he still was doing very well against Red Flame Evolved. So now that he's got this kill, are they going to be able to do anything? That's just the question that we have here. And Alsamano does have that book, and he's going to be able to scale pretty well in the mid game. What's he going to do versus the enemy team? You know, I'm curious to see whether or not they can execute this, because it can go either way, but Firebreathing Rubber Ducky is looking very good, looking very poised to get this game to that late game where Caitlin's a monster and looking to be able to take this game. But again, it's too early to tell. Red Flame Evolved does still have that advantage on his side, so we'll have to see what he does. Hopefully he can be a split push monster, but he's still down 20 CS. Despite getting those early 2 kills, he's still down in CS. Just not doing as well in this laning as the Blue Girl. There's going to be a little bit of CSing on the top side. Redemption has actually been picked up by White Raw, so... And now, speaking of White Raw, he's now here. Blue color is used too early. Again, they have to save it until after the Lantern. But now, Redemption is used. Daisy is here, but they don't have any more CC. Maybe one root color. But now, Samano's hooked up. He's going under the tower. No, he's not. Play is not used. I know he actually has to flash out and that is just a little bit of an unfortunate circumstance for Einidalich. Landing the hook but not having the follow-up here. A decent dodge by Mokujin to avoid the root collar, but he will be okay. Meanwhile, first turret's being already taken by Relegades, regaining that mid lane tower while Firebreathing Duckies are racing them for the top lane. It's going to be a while till they get that, but now Samano looked up again. Sandwalker's going to be taking up the tower, though. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. Will be alright. Lots of shields on the Relegade squad, but now Red Flame Evolved is here, and there's no TP on the Blue Girl, but doesn't matter. He's already lost Skarl. Nidaleesh is on the other side, gonna be trying to toss his blood buddy a lantern. Do whatever he can, but now Mr. J-Jax wants blood, completely whiffs it, but it doesn't matter because he does have the Spirit Rush, and now they're looking to kill Mokujin, but it did Red Flame Evolved go too quickly. Shield is used by Killer Z, and now Samano is tanking. Samano will be taking 1, 2, 3, too many tower shots. Root Collar does take him out, and that's a lot of the Relegades that are dead. 3 for 3, and now the 2 that were pushing for the Firebreathing Duckies are still pushing on the top side. They do get the tower. That is an even in-kill trade, and they don't even get the bottom tower. They do get the mid lane tower, but that is an advantage for the Firebreathing Duckies, if I ever saw one. So now 18 minutes in, the Goose is 6-9. 3k gold lead for the side of the Firebreathing Duckies. We'll be taking a Rift Herald, so that should really help them push these lanes out and get these advantages. So the Rift Herald will actually be somebody in the top lane. It looks like the Blue Girl is going to treat it like a Maiden in the Mist. He's just going to drop it and then go to another lane. So Red Flame Evolved is going to have to respond to this Herald. He's already going to see it, so he will cross paths with it. But otherwise, it's not really going to do much. It's not going to be used for like a grouped up siege and get a lot of damage because Red Flame Evolved can just take it out here. But now, Firebreathing Duckies is taking out this dragon and should be going down minus a free steal, but there is no steal here. Daisy goes in. Daisy's going to be stuck in the pit. And now teleport is actually used. Baba Ganoush goes in, and now Baba Ganoush needs to get out. He will be taking a lantern, and he'll be alright. Blue Girl looking to fight a little bit with Red Flame Evolved. Red Flame Evolved, he does have that Black Cleaver, and he was actually winning that, but he has to be afraid of the Subjugate. He's not going to come at him anywhere at any time, as it did right now, and he does not have the rage. Flashes into the Redemption, does get Skarl back, does have 2 members of his team, and the Blue Girl biting off more than he can chew, getting caught in a 1v3 for, well, umpteenth time in this series. So now Charge is going to be used by Red Flame Evolved. Going to be trying to hit up Baba Ganoush. However, it does not matter. He does last this thing straight away, and he will be alive to live another day. He will be able to live another day. So Red Flame Evolved is going to try and gain this tower, but Baba Ganoush does do a little bit of damage. Sandwalker is here, however, so they can pretty well ignore him, and they should be able to get him now. Bear Trap on a rope is used, should be taking out. Ooh! Barely taking him out. Yeah, I believe he did have the passive though, so they would have just popped that, but would have been nice to get him. But timely flash by him does save his life. So now you can see the builds. I think it's a Holy Grail has been picked up by White Rock. A little bit of an item advantage for Killer Z versus Mr. J-Jax. Mr. J-Jax still working for that Luna's Echo while Killer Z does want that Banshee's Veil for himself after the Merlenomicon. So, the build started out a little bit similar, but it will change here. And Caitlyn has already gotten her spike of Infinity Edge and Runons. Spike's a little bit harder once she gets that 3rd attack speed item. Usually you have Dark Ending. But with 2 items herself, she's not especially strong. So she has a crit, but not really enough attack speed. Because the thing about Caitlyn is that most of her attack speed comes from the fact that headshot gives her an innate 10% attack speed. And the way that that works is that it's there so that they can give Caitlyn a little bit less of a base attack speed, and so that attack speed ends are less effective on her. Because you don't want it to be super, super hyper on the headshot everyday attack speed Caitlyn. So now with Blue Girl being in the 1v2 again, gonna see if he can run, but now he's a 2v2. Baba Ganoush is here. Redemption's used very early, takes him slightly out of the redemption range. But with Blue Girl just beating the crap out of Red Flame Evolve, and that shot did so much damage. What on earth? Now, Fire and Rum Duckies are looking to push down mid. See if they can get this tower for themselves. Hopefully they will. And it does look like they'll be uncontested here. They will be getting the tower, and now 22 minutes in, it is 7-10 with a 4K gold lead for the side of the fire-breathing rubber duckies. Oh my goodness, Sandwalker did not know that was coming at all. Stepping a little bit too close to the wall and just getting absolutely demolished, destroyed, whatever you want to call it, just absolutely manhandled there. Now Ira hitting him with the root collar, maybe not wanting to take that there, but Samato here going to try and defend at his best. He'll be taking a little bit of damage, but there is no shockwave for the moment on Killer Z. See whether or not the Relegades can actually take advantage of that, and they do get Mokujin. Mokujin now reliving this again. He's seen this before, he's had a bad time because of it, and he does get assassinated by Mr. J-Jax. But now Baba Ganoush finding himself in a bad situation. Daisy actually gets hooked by the leash. It's a 2-for-1. Mokujin actually, Mr. J-Jax actually being taken down on the back end of that fight. So Zeal's going to be picked up by Mokujin. He's only got 1,400 gold until he's finished that rapid fire cannon. So it should be pretty soon until he's that Caitlyn monster that's critting everybody left and right. Looks good for the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. It's 25 minutes in, the man's nearly done with his third item. The blue buff will be passed over to Mr. J-Jax from the Ivern passive. Not really much going to be going on in this middle game. Going to be farming up a bit, going to see if they can get vision around the Baron, going to see if they can, you know, test it maybe. Potentially there could be a taking. I don't think so though. It's a little bit too early in the game for that. Around 30 minutes maybe. But oh, Mr. J-Jax actually hit up by Baba Ganoush. Has to burn the Spirit Rush. Otherwise he could get knocked in the other direction towards Mokujin. So intelligent of him to use it, but ultimately a little unfortunate that he had to use it in the first place. Not really in the best spot there. Dragon should be taken by the side of Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. I'm going to try their hardest here. But ultimately, he's not really going contested. But actually, Samato gets hooked up. He's going to be in a bad spot. Oh, the excellent ultimate Monsoon from Sandwalker to knock back Baba Ganoush in his ultimate. But now, the Blue Girl fighting off a little more than he could chew. Fighting Red from the vault, but now is it the other way around because the Blue Girl uses the subjugate and he becomes a completely different monster. Red from the vault has to get Scarl. Gonna try his hardest and he does almost have it. But now the Fire-Breathing Rubber Ducky is looking to siege the bot lane tower. Let's see what they do here, but an excellent shockwave here. We can get Sandwalker and Mr. J-Jax, but ultimately, actually, nothing really happens from it. A really good shockwave, but he didn't have quite enough follow-up. So he's going to be giving a pat on the back. hurt him a little bit, and then send him back where they came from. No big deal. So now 4-4 is Red Flame Evolved. He is showing himself to not really be able to 1v1 the Blue Girl. Because that subjugate is just so damn strong in those 1v1s. Hopefully, now he has Satanic Hydra and Black Favor now, so maybe he'll be able to one-shot, or he'll be able to, do a 1v1 the Blue Girl, but we'll have to see, because Trundle's a very, very good champion for 1v1ing. For these purposes of just, Firebreathing Rob Duckies have a very distinct strategy of just playing with Blue Girl, do whatever in side lane, and just making plays everywhere else. Because the Blue Girl, even though he's been behind, is still a menace. Like, nobody can 1v1 him. And so he's always picking these duelists that either, like, Clegg can just, like, kill everything, and Alawi, they just kill everything in their sights, or actually we usually while I'm engaged on, Redemption does not land fast enough, and I immediately will be picking to kill. Engage is used again by Baba Ganesh. You'll be looking for Red Flame Evolved. Can he get out? Does he have the jousting available to him? And he does not. Actually, Sam Walker goes down immediately. Oh my goodness. And the Firebreathing Rob Duckies is just showing their dominance in this series. Hitting him with everything they've got, and now that's a 3-0 for the Firebreathing Rob Duckies. Potentially looking to go for this bear as well. Mr. J. Jackson, a little bit of a dangerous spot, does get himself out though. So they will be on this Baron, see whether or not they can take it. And it is going down very fast. It's up below half, already at 2k, and now the Baron is taken, will be smited away by Baba Ganesh. And that's Firebreathing Rob Duckies in the driver's seat yet again in this game. So Rabadon's death cap is actually finished now by Killer C. It's very good for him, actually. Have a lot of damage. These shockwaves you see are just melting the side of Relegades. Not much going to go on at the moment. We're just going to see a little recuperation after these multiple fights. Rapid Fire Cannon has been finished by Mokujin. It looks like he's going to be going into some type of lifesteal item, potentially a Bloodthirster or a Bork. That seems fine. So now the Blue Girl looking to butt heads with Red Flame Evolved again. He does have his support nearby though, so we'll see whether or not that works out for him. It's going to be a little bit of a fight, but now Firebreathing Rob Duckies with that Baron, they're going to be looking to threaten this tower. Sandwalker taking so much damage. Oh my goodness. Killer Z is just showing no mercy whatsoever. Oh, double shields on the Sandwalker, but it is blocked by Mr. J. Jax. And now they will be doing a lot of damage to Baba Ganoush, but they do have the redemption. So he should be alright. So now the Culling will be used to try and defend this wave if at all possible, but Solar Spirit Rush, it's actually a whiffed shockwave. Mokujin being taken out of the fight by the Xanter. He will be alright, but Red Flame Evolved he's trying to get in on the back line, but he can't. He's just not taking enough, not doing enough damage. Meanwhile, Samana doing the damage that he can, but now he's on the back end here. Sandwalker doing his damage, he's trying to run, but the Blue Girl's a menace. Hook does land onto White Rock, he'll be going down, and that is 30 minutes in this game, 9-17, 10k gold lead for the Firebreathing Rob Duckies, and they are looking to maybe even end the game right here, right now. Now, will the Relegades be able to defend here? Shimano is up, the two carries are able to fight. But can they do anything? Baba Ganoush does go in, really ignore them. Nope, they go for the shockwave, and that is a triple kill for Killer Z. Excellently done. 9-20, 11-1 is Killer Z, being the backbone of the team in this game. And now that is very well played by the Firebreathing Rob Duckies, bringing the series to 2-0 in their favor. 9 towers to 2, winning in a very convincing manner. So now we will be getting into the after game stats. Now we can see performance on the side of Relegades not really that good. The kills are pretty evenly distributed though. So it's not like it was just one single person's screw ups, but Carbon and Duckies playing as a team, putting the backs onto getting on Killer Z's back is the term I should use. But Killer Z, if we look at the damage charts, actually not doing the most damage. The Blue Girl holds that title, which is interesting, I find. But it does make sense, though, the amount of brawling that went on between Red Flame Evolved and Killer Z, and La Blue Girl. Between La Blue Girl and Red Flame Evolved. So we'll have to see how this pans out, but it gave White his iron, and ultimately it just wasn't enough. It gave him a strategy that they tried before, and they just were unable to make it happen. So now the Relegades have no choice now but to reverse sweep. If they don't, then they're not going to win. So Carbon the Rubber Ducky is looking very poised to take this. Looking very poised to take this series, honestly. They only need one more win, and they've won very convincingly in this game. Last game was a little bit more close. It went to 40 minutes, but what are they going to do? So, that being said, we will take a little break while we wait to get into this next game. So, this is Ascension eSports. The game 3 should be coming soon. Just stick around, and we hope to see you then.